They told me to stand in the light. I can't see you, but hopefully you can see me. So I'm going to share with you some data. The thing about data is I try not to overload it. So how do I pick 4 slides to talk about this? So the first slide I'm going to show you is the diversity of our city. Larry talked eloquently about poverty. We have a very diverse city. We are a majority-minority city. You can see on this slide, 22% African American, 32% white, and 39% Hispanic, 7% Asian. So we are a very diverse city. It's our strength. It's what's going to make us special. It's going to be an asset for us. In the context, I'm going to talk a little bit about educational attainment and why it's important and why it can be important to students and families and everyone aspiring, because educational attainment can be, as someone said in the notes for me, a game changer for students, and they should really aspire because it really is something that it's an asset for an individual and for families. We're going to take a look at how the correlation between educational attainment and race, just looking at Dallas County. So you can see that 22% of black residents have a bachelor's degree or more, some 39%, some college. And you can see, this is a very interesting slide. I like the way they did this. We do bars and circles at the Fed. So this is nice. It's kind of triangular. So let's go to the next slide, which shows 9% of Hispanics have a bachelor's degree or more. And you can see the very large triangle, 50% have less than a high school diploma. That's not a good-looking slide right there. To the next slide, we're going to look at white, non-Hispanic in Dallas County. 46% have a bachelor's. 6% of white residents have less than a high school diploma. Now we're going to go to the median income, and I want to show you how it correlates. Education and income is correlated. So you can see here, these are median incomes, and this is Dallas County, for someone with a graduate degree, a bachelor's, some college, high school, and less than a high school. Do you see the difference in those numbers? Over a lifetime, that equates just about, for someone who has an advanced degree, up to towards $1 million in differential in income. Those are stark numbers. So what we also know about education is it narrows the employment gap between races. So on my next slide, you'll see that African Americans, 17% of African Americans without a high school diploma in the United States were unemployed in 2014. On the next slide, you're going to see 7 compared to Hispanics, which is 7.4% unemployment. That's a gap with African Americans of 10%. And then the next slide shows 7.8% of whites. So you can see education is correlated also with unemployment. Now, if you were to see these slides, I was going to have them go back, but I don't have time. But if you were to compare these slides all together, when you get into the higher bachelor's degree, you'll see that the unemployment actually gets a little bit closer. So 5% of blacks with bachelor degrees were unemployed, compared to 4 and 3% of Hispanics and whites. So the more education you have, that affects your unemployment rate in a positive way. So having a college degree is an asset. And the reason why we talk about that as being an asset is that you can measure poverty in income, but the real true test of poverty is whether or not you have if you have assets or not. And so a college degree makes a difference for children and for all of us in this room. It really helps you establish yourself to get a career and actually build assets for yourself. And it's truly, truly important. So we have to be careful when we're thinking about all of the news about student loan debt and how terrible it is. It's going to be the next bubble. I get asked that all the time. Is it going to be the next bubble? But it's such a good investment. We say at the Federal Reserve, you earn what you learn. You can't almost afford not to go to college. So just a couple more stats before I leave the stage. That the average student loan in Dallas County is $25,980. That sounds like a car that you might be able to buy somewhere along the way, right? $462 is the average monthly payment. So student lending, if you do it correctly, if you find the right situation, it's a good investment. And that's just something I wanted to leave, that we don't want to get confused or scared about the numbers. One of the reasons why student loan debt is going up is because more students are borrowing money. So it's a good bet. It's a good investment. And it's so important because, as you can see, it's so important to the lives of our children and for their future. Thank you.